Hi there, welcome to Average Joe's vlog. We're here with the brand new 2012 Audi A3. Let's get on the road and see what it's like. In terms of the drive, this is the 1.8 TFSI, 180 brake, 250 odd foot-pounds of torque, plenty of power there. However, there's a problem with it. If you were a gamer 15 odd years ago, 56k, Counter-Strike 1.3 before, big word that we used to talk about a lot was lag, and this car does seem to have it. This has got the S-Tronic box, which if you switch it over into sort of the manual mode using the paddles or the shifter, it does make it more responsive. But still, I don't think as responsive as it could be. Especially in auto mode, you know, you just find yourself putting your foot down, waiting, and then suddenly it kicks in. When it kicks in, there's plenty of power, but apart from that, the ride is actually really nice. It's solid, especially on A roads and B roads where they're not too bumpy. It is really good. If, however, you're on slightly bumpier roads, like, you know, we're in the country doing this video, it can be a little bit rough at times, but nothing too bad. Overall, you know, the ride and the drive of this car, you know, is typical Audi. It just seems to work well. In terms of the cabin, really like this car. It's a great mix of simplicity and then a little bit of flair as well. You've got the chrome surrounds on the air vents, a little bit like the S-Line, but not quite as out there. The aircon unit in the centre is just lovely. It's so slick, it's sleek, it just looks the part. It's really simple, but it's just a great looking feature. Most people are going to want to talk about the LCD that comes out of the dash. Yeah, it's nice. I don't want to say it's a gimmick, but you know, it's either there or you can tuck it away. You've got no ability to adjust the angle, which is a little disappointing. As well as that, there's not huge amounts of information on there. Yes, you've got your basic radio, sat nav, telephone, things like that, and you have got the ability to change the drive mode, efficiency, sport, things like that. But you can do that on a couple of other buttons. You don't need it on there. I just think it could have been a lot better if it would have had a little bit more thought into it. Now, what about the kit? You know, this particular model is, I think it's a touch under £30,000, not cheap by any means. And some of the extras, you know, you wouldn't call essentials, like different alloys, the white Alcantara paint, things like that. But there's a few huge notable omissions. Hasn't got any heated seats, hasn't got electric seats, doesn't even have parking sensors. You know, a £30,000 car with no parking sensors, you know, is nearly, I think, unheard of nowadays, to be honest. There's a nearly standard equipment, especially on an Audi. You know, to be fair, the base model does start, I think, around £21,000, which is a nice entry price for this particular car. But, you know, you're going to get your auto start-stop on there, which for us, yes, I know you're all groaning out there and complaining already. The start-stop on this actually really works well. It's the best one we've probably tested. It doesn't feel like you're stalling the car like some can. You know, it just works well. Take your foot off the brake, and then there you go, you've got power again. Even if you're at traffic lights and you want to get away quickly, you can actually do that with this stop-start. It actually works quite well. In terms of the externals, it's an Audi A3, you know, there's nothing more to say about that. It is the best looking A3 so far. I don't think many people would argue about that, but it just hasn't got anything special. You'll debadge it, anyone in the world can tell it's an Audi A3. You know, it looks quite strong, it looks quite aggressive. If you take the next model up to the S-Line, it gets even more so with a couple of extra features, front splitter, that kind of thing. And it'll be interesting to see how the S3 comes out next year. But it's a nice looking car, it's a very good looking car, but it just doesn't do anything special in terms of the externals. There we have it, the new A3. It's nearly there, it's a great base. Imagine an amazing hot chocolate pudding, but it doesn't have any ice cream melting over the top. That's what happens with this car. It just isn't quite there. It's still a really lovely car to drive. I think giving the options, and you know, miles per gallon is particularly great. You're probably going to want to opt for the diesel. They do a 2-litre turbo diesel, which puts out, I think, around 150 brake. That's probably the car and the trim you're going to go for. I'm Stuart, this has been Average Joe's blog. Like, share, subscribe, and stay tuned because next week we'll be at the A3 Sportback launch, so we'll have a new video for that as well.